Hello, hello, everybody. How you doing? Of course, you're on Residence tonight with myself, Tanya, Norma Jean, and Melzie. Hi,
Woo! Hey
Melzie.
everyone. Hi.
Yeah,
How are you
you
ladies
might
doing?
notice. Awesome. You might notice I have a little bit different location background today. We're at Vedette Lake, and I've come up to
Woo!
give Diana, yeah, Ray, who's been the land keeper here for many years, over 20, passed away while we were on our
Oh,
travels were we in Egypt still? No, we were in Greece. Yeah, we were in Greece. So she needed a break and she had a good girlfriend's birthday. And I'm like, I'll come stay. So I got a dog, a cat, and a mini horse. And then of course
oh,
the property. So yeah, we've been enjoying a little I don't know. It's just been really quiet and really nice. Like the silence is deafening. Like you just stand there and close, you're like
I
so
love that
it's
sound.
pretty
That's what I miss about
yeah,
my land is
absolutely.
that sound. I didn't have I was in the middle of nowhere, and if you'd heard a truck, go by, it was a long ways off. So I slept really well. When I first went out to my land, I was really scared. I was thinking about that earlier. Like all our fears that we have sometimes, they're really not true, you know. I mean, some of
Yeah,
them may be true. They may have value, right? But um, I was so worried about so many little things that never really happened. And it was such a great journey in my life to be out there and to take those long walks and the solitude that I had to be able to go inward. And I know that it's hard for some people, to find that place, especially when you're in a city. I did when I lived in cities, but I had to find my place of respite that I could find to go to. And even if it was just a small park that had grass, then I could connect again. And those are two.
absolutely. Yeah, animals remind us there's a really big ass toddler German shepherd here who could take you out should he choose.
Uh,
And yeah, and he's pretty good. He's being really good right now. He's lying down. Yeah. So we've got a routine going with him, and that seems to be working somewhat. It keeps waking Norma Jean up.
he likes
Absolutely.
you, Norma.
Yeah.
Is it a he? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's barely 2. So yeah, absolutely. Um, just wanted to touch base. So in the chat, so Melzie in the chat, Mighty Mouse says, Melzie, love your hair. You look beautiful tonight. Thought I'd
Thank
share
you.
that. Yeah,
Oh, I like that. Thank you.
and-
Because I had my bad hair day a little bit ago. Thank you.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Norma Jean's waving to her sister. Awesome. We had a little bit of a conversation going on around body dosing earlier. So we'll give you guys to get your juices flowing in your brain. So we're going to talk about body dosing. Bob can't get his rods to work. So I've actually got a stainless steel one here. I didn't bring mine. But this one works just fine for me. So we'll see if we can get him tapped in a little bit more. So if anybody's got a rod, go get them out and we'll play. Okay. And then another conversation that was coming up in our chat today around dimensions and consciousness and expansion or ascension, and how many dimensions are there? How are they set up? So that people can maybe understand a little bit more. And we're talking about resonance with all of those. So everything is really relevant to the show. We're going to try and keep that really on point for you guys so that we can empower you to find your own resonance and how you can best operate in this world. Yeah. So, and Melzie, you've got some things coming up around resonance, something about singing bowls. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Mm. Well, I do because I'm really excited about it. Some people, I don't know if you know, but I live at a hot springs RV resort, and they have these beautiful, beautiful pools. One of them is a larger pool, and I envision having a sound bath session there with singing bowls and um, like a toning, like an inner toning, breathing, and just light meditative work um, retreat. So I hope that it can expound upon other things. Remember, we were talking a little bit ago about the cymatic photographer Sean Pekarsnik and his
Yep.
work, and um, he is living in a camper too, an RV, and I kind of reached out to him today and showed him he posted something about his camper and I posted my camper, and I told him that when I'm in the water, I think of his work, and I think about the water, the memory, and I talk to the water, and I think, oh my goodness, wouldn't it be great to have like a water retreat, where we learn
Yeah.
about where he could come, and he's just so amazing. Like his work is very spiritual, and I think that all of us together, we would be charging that water too. So us being in it, it's not just for the healing for us, but it's for healing of that water and charging it. Just think we're we're crystals, living crystals, and so I'm excited about that experience. I think it's different than I don't know many places that are doing it with water. And I think the singing bowls themselves are amazing, right? The sound bath
Absolutely.
experience itself is amazing, but I think the two together will bring it to a different level. So I think it'll be fun to explore how to do it, to test it out, and um, I'm going to get some singing bowls, and I'm excited about that. And then I have to practice on people and see what happens.
Yeah, you just go into a meditative state and play them. So when I do these ones locally at Kalena in North Vancouver, we do them on the new moon and the full moon or shortly around that. And she just totally just taps right in. She's gone. She's like meditating now and just does it all really intuitively. And that's what I
Oh,
would recommend for sure. Rather than thinking,
mhm.
oh, I need to learn it this way and I need to follow a
Yeah,
program, you see that you end up getting guided and just depending on what's going on energetically during that time can be quite fascinating. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And you were talking about crystals. It's really interesting because Diana showed us that in Ray's ashes were these little tiny turquoise, what were they called? Wisdom crystals?
Yes.
They're called wisdom crystals. And
Mm.
where he was cremated, they're like, we've never seen this before. And as I was looking it
Mhm.
up, it actually comes mostly from monks that have these wisdom crystals. And I thought, oh, that's really
Wow,
fascinating.
that's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And so we've been really energetically connected to the land here. Diana thinks the land is really concerned because there's a will and it's got to go through probate. So there's all this stuff going on with previous wife and stuff. And it's just like, you know what? Just let it all go. Everything will work out the way it should. And so since we've come here and saged and talked to the land, right? And had a conversation, and we're like, you know, this might take 5 years, but what's 5 years in nature's scheme, right? It's nothing to nature. So we'll see
Right.
what plays out around this. And also that when we were back in North Vancouver, we went for a hike. Right away, mycelium popped into my head, and I'm like, "Oh, hello, mycelium." And I've been talking to it there before. So you're talking about talking to water. I recommend everyone that when you're out in nature, talk to nature.
Mhm.
Oh, to be acknowledged is so huge for us to start really acknowledging and making sure that we're continuing. So yeah, really important to allow that flow
And
of energy to have that exchange because we already are. We're already breathing in the oxygen from the trees. They're taking our carbon monoxide. We're already living in symbiosis, so to speak.
we are. And
Yeah.
then to talk, like I think we did a challenge last week to talk to your water.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, if we could all do that, just talk to your water, tell it you love it, tell it you're grateful for it, the things in your heart. We've all seen those pictures of Emoto. I can't say his name. Emo, yep,
I know what you mean.
Imudu, Imudo, Imudomaro.
I know who you mean. not gonna try and picture it.
You might just go at it, chop it
Yeah,
up. So, yeah, I think it would be amazing to see what results we would all have too. It would be a great group challenge.
absolutely. Absolutely. And so even for me with my Santa Via at home, this water is all spring water.
Mhm.
It's loved all the way here, right? So it's really,
Yeah.
really beautiful water. And then at home, I have a Santa Via, and I've got not just their filter and just their stones to mineralize the water, but I've also got a big chunk, a big tooth of amethyst in there as well.
Ooh.
And allegedly, that helps to get it into your cells more and break through the cell barrier. So even just setting that intention, may this
Mhm.
water nourish the inside of my cells. Yeah, absolutely. Just
Yeah,
to
because I don't know whose work it was, but it might have been Luc Montagnier, The Fourth State of Water. If you put even just like a the name like love on your water, like maybe you forget, write love on your water bottle and just clamp it to there, and it'll take on that programming. So I think it'd be amazing to see what would happen as a group. We could all report back and see, what occurs. There was this
absolutely.
one
Absolutely.
one Native American that said like water is like it's alive, right? And there was this flooding that happened, and they went in and they talked to the water and they asked it to go around this village, and the water went around it. So I think that when we learn to have more connection, like you said, to nature, and even if we're in a city, we're drinking water, we're connected, right? We're all really connected through water, the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Bob says, I viewed proof of how water reacts to talk and love. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can also use stones to help redirect water as well, because stones give off energy. So there's
Mhm.
a fellow that when I was doing my dowsing and we were hanging out on the weekends, he was talking about how he would do that. He would go to a property and redirect the water by using stones for people, so the water would come to their property a little closer, or right, just to redirect it, which is super cool. And
Mhm.
when earthquakes happen, then right, then it shifts things, and that's that energetic shift and change going on. Do you want to add to that? The energetic shift and change around water, stones.
I'm sorry, I got a little lost there. I was listening.
Oh, she's right here.
I was reading and I'm sorry.
It's okay, Norma.
Yeah, right, yeah, not yet.
That's
Let
okay.
me get
So
refocused here.
yeah. So speak up when you do. Yeah. Dee Dee Moore over on Facebook says, wasn't there a book called The Magic of Water? It was super good. Water is a miracle. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Yes, that's very, very true. And so by honoring water and honoring nature and honoring ourselves more and just slowing down a little bit more, right? There's nothing we're racing towards. There's nothing we have to do right now except manage our energy and just allow ourselves to flow like water through our
Mhm.
lives a little bit more instead of trying to push through and fight through and make it happen. That's an old model. And now it's about being in resonance with yourself, with your surroundings, and allowing things to come to fruition, to be birthed
Mm.
just energetically, so to speak. And it's a very different way of operating, which kind of brings me into this whole conversation around ascension expansion. Ascension makes me think it only goes up and down, but that's not true. It's really expansion because it's different levels of vibration. So we talk about timelines all the time. And I know at night I've been collapsing a lot of timelines because, I can just tell when it's one of those dreams where I'm remembering something. It's just to close it. So past people coming in, it's just to close that energy, get my energy back to me for this time and moment. And right now I'm trying to gather as much energy as I can, meaning I won't just agree to go do things kind of willy-nilly or go hang out with a group unless it really resonates that is important for me to do. Or if I do tend to go, I will go and I will step in, but I will pull out and call my energy right back. So one of the big things, even around Vedette, was that I would come and support and step in and help. But there's too much other energies at like this that I'm like, oh, I'm not inserting myself in that. So I've really called my energy back, and I'm here to support Diana right now. And we will see what transpires. So it could be in 3 years, could be in 5 years, but this land really loves my energy being here. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be here full time. So there's, it's being really cautious about choosing your highest timeline, choosing only that which resonates and lifts you up instead of going, oh, that's a family thing, I should go do it. So there's a very different intention when you really just step back and make sure, does this feel right for me? And you can body dose that. Right? You can body dose these things because your body will never lie to you. And so I promised that we would tap into that a bit. So let's tap into that, because even if the rods won't work for everyone, this body dosing does. And something new came in because I was teaching it to Diana before she left, and her yes is she doesn't move. She's like super solid, stands still. And I was like, oh wow. But when she did her no, she did tip back, but she doesn't go forward for a yes. So not everyone will have the exact same reaction. And that's really, really important to make sure that you respect that you're unique. You have your own frequency, and your body's going to respond to you maybe a little bit differently. So you can sit or you can stand. I'm going to try and sit sideways here. We'll see if we can capture this the right way. There. All right. And you just want to really ground into your root chakra. Okay. So ground it right in. Take a few deep breaths and bring your consciousness to your heart space, right? We don't want to be up here. We want to be down here more. So we want to be in our heart space. And please show me a yes. And right away, I can feel my body going forward. So that's definitely mine. And then everybody do this with us, right? Everybody do this that wants to try it. You can sit or stand, and then do it again. And please show me a no. And my body pulls, my whole body. It's not like I'm tipping back. It's like there's this force field behind me pulling me back. And you can also test with yes or no questions, like your name, right? Where you are located at this time. So you can try a bunch of different ways. Is that clear for everyone? If it's not clear, please let me know, because we just want to make sure that you guys have the tools. So when somebody asks you or tells you, well, there's only 4 dimensions, you can ask that question yourself versus needing to reach out and ask, right? Yeah, 100%. 100%. And then does everybody have their rods that wants to play with the rods while we're on this conversation? Did it work on Bob? Did that work for you? Because that might be an easier way to get started. It'll help to get you out of your head. Most people who the rods don't work for are generally thinking too much about moving the rod. Come on, move. Right? What we want to do, and what we want to do is really just relax. We have it slightly bent, but not so far down that it's going to spin, and not too far up because it will spin on its own. Okay. And so I can hold it, point it at the camera. Please show me a yes. And it starts to turn. It's a very slow yes. So everyone, I want you to try that, but I'm not here. I'm in my heart space. Because really, if we all operated from our heart, the world would not be where it is today. And that's what we're moving towards. Yeah. That's why Melzie's talking about doing bowls and having this conversation, because it lights you up. I can see your face light up, and it's really resonating for you. Like you found this beautiful landing spot that works really well for you. Yeah.
Getting them right now.
It
Yeah.
does, because sometimes we try to go out and create it, you know,
Right.
and then we miss out on the opportunities that the universe might be have in mind for us. And yeah.
May this or something even greater, and this is that creation mode that you just went with the flow. Pardon the pun with the
Hmm.
water, but you went with the flow.
I went with the
And that's
flow,
very
and now
brave.
I'm always flowing. Yeah,
I mean,
it
that's literally the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and Cindy says, with a yes, I feel my head fall forward. With a no, I feel it pull back in my, I feel pull back. Perfect. Great. So now you
So,
can use these, right? When you're frustrated, what's going on? Go ahead, Melzie.
so I douse with my
Go ahead.
fingers. I douse in different ways too.
Yes.
Like I have a pendulum, but I don't have it here right now. But and then I also douse with my fingers. I had broke my little finger for a while back. Some people do it like this. So this is, but I do it with this one because it's easier for me. And so I go, if you can see, a yes. See, it's a stick, and a no goes through. And sometimes I'll get like a maybe. It's like, oh, like, oh, is that a yes or a no? It kind of goes through, but there's a little bit of a stick. And so it's kind of all about the question. We can't be too detailed, and sometimes we have to remember our question, right? And so maybe there's
Yeah.
things that are there that we might not see, like should I eat lobster? And you might get it, well, maybe, and you're like, well, why
Right.
why can't I eat lobster? I want lobster. Well, maybe it's not good lobster, right? Or maybe it won't digest with you well, or maybe there's more to the maybe, right? So you can further ask questions that can get you to something too. And then in homeopathic, like the homeopaths that I work with, they would use their intuition. So they put the remedy into the left hand, and the person would sit there and they would go, so what do you feel? And they would go, I feel nothing, in the beginning, because a lot of people, right? They're like, what am I supposed to feel? I feel, holding this cup. But they were not, we're so disconnected with our bodies that everything we touch has an effect. Like when I touch this, it has an effect on my hand because it pokes me, right? When I touch this, it's warm, right? So that effect affects my energetic level as well. And so when you hold a remedy, that energy affects your body. So they would test, and that's kind of where I learned these testings. And they would always use in dowsing, like how much to take for your remedy, right? Because they might
Yeah.
know that a lower dose will be um, for your physicals and a higher for your mentals, but maybe your body really needs to work on the mentals more than the physicals. Your body knows more than a doctor knows.
Yeah.
The doctor is just really the instrument or the tool to helping you in finding your healing.
Absolutely. And it's funny, one of the biggest goals right now, as we get to know ourselves and we're going through this expansion or ascension, whichever you choose, is being so connected with the body, because it's going to take the now it's your spot, body, mind.
You can't have one without the other. Okay, so this is where we have to understand that we have to create a dance between the two, because it just is what it is. And when you get to a place where you have a harmony in yourself, that creates that dance between the human form and the spiritual being that is inhabits this form. Okay, they have to work together for you to understand how to create the world you say you want to experience, or the things you say you want to to create, that gives you the pleasures of life, to be able to travel, to be able to buy that home, or whatever it is that you feel that brings you joy. The two have to be in unison with one another. They have to be. That's the reason why you have to work on your chakras, because you've got 7 chakras they speak of, which there's more, but let's just keep it simple right here, right now. Okay. So you have 7 chakras that are with the body. Now we're coming to find out that there's 9, but like I said, we'll keep it simple. So you've got 3 above, 3 below, and 1 in the center. Okay. So when you get to a point where you understand the information you're given about our history, about Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt, and the many rituals and things like that that they've done. The purpose and reason was because they were bridging the two, and the help me out here.
Yeah. So by getting them all connected and running in unison is when you get to have the Christ consciousness, and when that oil will rise for you. And there's a
Right.
whole, I know what you're going with, the Egypt thing. Careful with that.
Yes.
It's a whole
Yes,
other
sir, yeah.
subject. I knew
That's right,
exactly
right.
where you were going.
I was like, whoa, stop. Pass the buck.
The whole other conversation
Right.
around how the U.S. is that was based. A bunch of the U.S. is based on Egypt, which is another story.
Yeah,
But that's exactly where her head went. This is how connected we are. Yeah.
Too far. But yeah, it's you got to understand that you have to dance. That's why it's called mirroring, people.
Yeah.
That's why it's called mirroring. And that's the reason why I say you always have to be gentle. You have to be kind. You have to look at yourself. You can't look at things as sinful. You can't look at things as bad, wrong, good, this or the other. Just look at one another and say, okay, I see you. Now tell me who you are and what it is that you want to have in unison with this body and this spirit. That's what the mirror's for. It was never meant for you to sit and judge yourself with. It's there for you to reflect upon, upon one another. So that way that dance becomes so fluid and so beautiful that, that's when the masculine and feminine energy comes together, and it's like everything becomes endless in your creativeness and what it is you want to experience. It's so beautiful. And it's like, this is something that I was sitting with today that becomes even more profound as as I continue to understand more and more that everything that we experience, we're experiencing it from within. We're not going out there. We do have a tendency to say, oh, we go and we travel. What we're doing is we're going within, because everything that exists is within first. Everything. So,
yeah.
100%. It's the greatest journey. It's the greatest journey that we take, is to go within. Like, we are always looking, like, I was thinking about that. A lot of people, we get a lot of tourists that come here, right? And it's an amazing place to come to. People want to stay when they come longer. In fact, a lot of times they'll come back in and they'll be like, can I stay another day, a month, a year, forever? And yeah, that was me. Oh yeah. Anyways, but they do that. And I think, this one couple, they were here, they booked it for a whole week. And I thought they must have been looking forward to coming for that whole, like, how long did they go? Oh, we're going to go and we're going to plan. We're going to bring these towels and this robe and these flip flops, and we're going to eat this food, and, we're going to soak. And they envisioned that. Right. And, I just lost my thought. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But
That's okay.
but that planning, it's like disappointing them when you leave, right? It's such a joy to come, and then you go back to, like, where it was you came from. You learned from that. You can reflect on it. But if we can go within and have that peace there daily, then we don't have to travel to go there or to go there. It's wonderful to travel, and I think it's a great thing to do. Like, we learn so much about ourselves and others, and our walk, and to do it when we can. But if you can't, the greatest journey to go is within. And once you are within, then anything you experience, it's like you're that tree that, it can't be taken down. It weathers through the storm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're your greatest asset and your worst enemy when you can't bridge those two, because if your mind's racing and your mind's in control, and we've watched a few people recently, it's like, all right, so this is the biggest challenge, is to get people to just accept that their mind will have thoughts, but they're not facts.
Right.
And to quit attaching to those thoughts as if they are fact. And once you do that, and once you realize that you can be that observer and you don't have to live those thoughts all the time, because that's exhausting. I know, I've been there. You know, you've been there. Melzie, you've been there, right? Where your mind is actually in control. That's part of the programming that we break. Once you break that, there's no freaking going back. I can tell you that.
Hmm.
There's way too much peace. Yeah,
There is.
way too much peace.
There is. And I think that's the thing, what you said, breaking the programming, and it's not something that's done in a day. It's something that's done, day after day, where we make these choices towards ourselves. Really, that's what it is. And in that, what, who are we? And that's a question we need to ask. What is the
Why
life
am I
that we want to live? And we have a piece in that, a choice in that. And if we're not happy in that place we are, what
Yeah,
energy can we move to make it different? And we can do it.
yeah.
We can do it.
You're responsible for every experience, everything you think, do, and say is part of your manifestation. So
Hmm.
the more you can slow down and observe, and then be a little more intentional and follow those intuition, that little whisper instead of the dark barking dog, so to speak, in your head. And when you start to do that, it'll lead you on a beautiful path, like what Melzie's doing. And Melzie, for every single singing bowl, that relates to a chakra specifically. So there's that tuning. So as you're playing them, close your eyes and, whoa, which one is this? And then see if you can feel it, right?
Yes.
And work on it. Right. Yeah, super beautiful. I promised on Bob today. Okay, so for those of you with the rods out, let's get this done, and then we'll continue the conversation.
We can give you a little bit of range so it work. Because it's like
Would you like one? She's walking away.
a little bit of just like
Yes, you can feel it. All right. So we want to bring, and whether or not you have them, guys, you could practice this way. Show me a yes,
Hmm.
right? Show me a no. So it just depends on what works for you, but it's a matter of being here, not here. Okay. So I just want you guys, if you have a rod, to go ahead and put it up. And if you guys have some questions for the rod and you don't have rods, go ahead and ask, and we'll get some of those answered as well. All right. And so as we breathe here, and I'm just going to do a little grounding on Bob, who's been in our chat forever, and we love you. Okay. A few deep breaths, and then please show me a yes. And Penny, you too. All of you who have them, play. Let's play a little bit. Yeah. And over on Facebook, September Rose says, I fired my last doctor because she told me I didn't know my body 17 years ago. Good job. Yeah. It doesn't take much. You know when something's not true. You know when it's wrong. And you guys, let me know
Good
how
for
you're doing.
you, September Rose.
Right? I don't take
Mhm.
any shit.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. My doctor knows me well. He's German, so she's a straight shooter. It's good. But I never, we haven't seen you. I'm like, yeah, I don't need you. If there's nothing I need, why would I come? Right?
That's right.
And so, yeah, let us know how you're going there. Bob, keep me posted, and we'll keep conversing, and then we can drop it in out. So, yeah, absolutely. And so let's tap a little bit more into that, the inner journey. So often when I'm meditating, I feel like I can go into this void space where I can hear what's going on outside of me, but it's not where I'm at. And it's just like this deep peace. It's almost
Mhm.
like the womb space, right? Like going back in the womb where you're like aware, but but you're protected and you're safe. That's what it feels like going into the womb again. And yeah, absolutely. And so it feels like going into the womb, and it's just really peaceful. And so the longer you can stay there, the more you will discover more about yourself. And then you can also run energy through the body, right? Imagine that white light coming through your body and healing all your cells. If you did that every morning and just took a few minutes before you got out of bed, you would notice a huge difference in your day. And that's a new challenge for everyone. So talk to your water and take a few minutes in the morning to run your energy through your body. Imagine a white light going through and just mastering all cells. It doesn't matter which hand you hold it in, guys. You can hold it in your left or your right. It doesn't matter. And then see how I've got it just slightly down? You can also use it to show you directions. Please show me where the fire is. And the fire is right there. Please show me where the door is. And the door is over there. But I've been doing
Please
this
show
for a
me
long
where my
time.
keys are.
Right?
Please show me where my keys are. No, we did that one time. That happened to my ex-husband. He lost his keys, and he was looking all over for his keys for like a week on the farm. And he got out the dowsing rods, and he was, all of a sudden I was up in the kitchen and I could see him running this one direction. He was coming back to the farm. And I thought, did he find the keys? And he had gone up, that the rods took him up by the tractor. And he thought in his mind, I've already been there. I've already looked there. And he thought, well, I'm going to go because the rods told me. So he went there and he was looking around, and he thought, see, I looked already and they're not here. And he turned around and he looked down, and he could see they'd fallen right down. He just couldn't see them from that direction. So, he found them, and he used to help people douse, like for water. He would take a map, and he could douse it just with a map. He didn't have to necessarily go on the land.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
don't. Yeah. And the same can be said for ley lines, right? And ley lines they're moving and shifting and changing. So you can find a map online, and and you can douse it. You can also find where it says there is one. And most water is a ley line. Most train tracks are ley lines. That's done intentionally because they can harness that energy. Most highways are ley lines. So when you start to see the patterns, and you look at a map and you look at those things, you can start to see where maybe an intersection might be happening. You can also tell when a tree has a really big knot in it, that there's maybe a bit of a stuck energy there as well. And so energy's been trapped a lot for utilization on the planet over the past several decades, hundreds of years. So nature does respond. So again, being that observer, and what do you notice as you walk around? What do you see? The up at the center, the giving tree, as it was called, that everyone walked around, everyone hugged, fell over in a storm, was hit by lightning in a storm probably 2 years ago now. But at the bottom of the tree was a huge turkey tail mushroom, huge. I was like, and my girlfriend Rain,
Like
who's
henna
super
of the
tapped
wood?
in, says,
Like
yeah,
henna of the wood?
yeah,
Is that what you mean, mushroom? Is that what you're talking about?
yeah, the mushroom,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Which is for healing cancer, right? And
Mhm.
so she looked at it and went, "Oh, that happened because that's not needed anymore. It's done." So it was done already a few years ago to speak, and that the tree's not needed anymore. Oh, now. And it was hollow and it was in rough shape anyway. So it was just an interesting correlation. So
Mhm. I
yeah.
just wanted to comment too on the having light come. Like think about us, light coming down through you and going through your chakra systems and just running through your body, and then going down into the earth, taking that energy with, and then transmuting it, and then coming back up, and then going back up to to from your chakra systems, from the root to the solar plexus and on up, and going back up. So we're like tuning forks. And
Yeah.
yeah, we're like tuning forks. So just think that the energy is coming through and it's and we're receiving this light that knows where to go and knows where to unblock some of those energy blocks, right? Just visualize that, because whatever our mind, and our heart believes, it's reality.
Yeah. Right?
Hmm. It
Absolutely.
is.
So when somebody
Yeah.
tells you, "Oh, you remember as a kid, oh no, you can't do that," or right? So you really had to be quite strong to not take that on. So I happen to have one of those fathers that says, "You'll never amount to anything." And then
Mm.
my response was, "Well, I'll show you." Right? Which is a very
Yep.
masculine way of dealing with it. And I ran quite a bit of my life in that very masculine driven push, push, push energy. And it's only been the last few years that, well, probably 7 to 8 years, where just tapping in more than that to slowing down to right to doing all this additional things so that I didn't have to do that. But
Right.
it's a habit, right? It was a habit that had to be broken because it's like a
Yeah.
default setting. So I will tap into it. Should there be something I need to push through and get done, I can do that. But for the most part, and Norma saw me come here and just go, "Whoomp." I just been sitting. I just been like, I'm in the chair. She's doing more than I am, which is not the norm. Normally she's sitting and I'm doing shit.
It is quite amazing because like when we're in Vancouver, I'm sitting because there's things I'm doing on, the computer and things like that. And she's like in and out, I gotta go here, I gotta go there. And I'm like, okay, we'll see you
It's
later.
getting shit done, right?
Yeah,
Getting
no.
work done.
So, but here it's like I'm going because but she's like getting more rest, even though the dog is also connected to me. It's also that since I've arrived, um, Vedette was like, "Hello, how's it going? How's it going? We got things to show you. Let's go." Oh my God, so because the energies here are really, really high. And so, but it's beautiful because the first thing I said to her when we first arrived was, "It's the silence is so deafening." So, and then Diane has spoken to it, a little later that evening, and I was like, but it's wonderful. And so, of course, I asked them to back off, so I could get a little bit of rest because between the dog and them, I was like, wow, I don't know how much more I'm gonna be able to go. But yeah, it's been very experiential just being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas I've been here so many times, it's like, this is my unplug, like relax spot. I can just sit. I can get stuff done. Went for a walk,
Oh
went
yeah.
up to the center yesterday.
Mhm.
So yeah. In the chat, just back to the rods, guys, so I don't get too far before it's gone. You can make your own. You could use a coat hanger. You could use a pencil. A pencil would work.
Mhm.
It just depends on how much you're willing to trust what you're using. And so I've made my own out of copper as well. You can get copper wire, but you can just use straight metal. You could use sticks. So it's just
Mhm.
a matter of connecting with what you're using and then you can. So absolutely. It's my strong birth chart. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you would be surprised too, guys, as you use these and you start to get out of your head, that naturally you're going to operate differently. And so it's a
Mhm.
beautiful tool for becoming more of that observer because you're going to stop and you're going to body dose or you're going to think differently. You can dose food, you can dose vitamins, you can dose like pretty much anything. Yeah. And, a lot of
Yeah, and
people just need to learn to do that. And that alone will shift their lives for them.
yeah, it's honoring your intuition.
Yeah.
Honoring your higher self, really, because you're asking your higher self. Um, and we have been so programmed to not learn how to use our intuition and not ask our higher self. Like even to say that to some people, they wouldn't even listen to us, right? So, but that's when we don't do it, we feel that in our gut, right? We're like, oh, there's something wrong right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, I can't tell it. And you just feel worry. And so when we can release that, we start living in um, that now moment of love, right? So when we talk about the feminine and the masculine energies, all of us have been in disbalance because our world is in disbalance. We don't live in harmony, and harmony is when we have that toroidal field of energies balanced and working together. It doesn't mean that, like, oh, I haven't found my twin flame, so we'll never have peace on earth. It's just never going to happen. Right? you know right? Like, that's not what we're talking about.
No.
Because everybody's been in disbalance, whether you're a man or you're a woman. Your energies haven't been. If you're a man, you're not living. Your male energies have been unbalanced as well. We're not supposed to be living the way we are, is what I'm trying to say. I think you got it.
Yeah, totally got it.
Yeah.
It's about coming back to balance within yourself. And so I would say,
Yeah.
I don't know for a fact how many dimensions there are. I trust when I dowse that there's at least 12 that are relevant to us on this planet. And that's all I'm going to say, because there's dimensions all over the universe. So there's so many dimensions we can't even speak to it all. But even though, and if there is 12 here, how does that affect me right now in this time and space? It doesn't. And so I actually go with that with any current question,
Yeah.
any concerns people have. But how does that affect you right now? Is the earth flat or is it round? How does that affect you in your day to day? It doesn't. Right? So it's, again, attaching outside of those polarities that are playing out there, the duality game that's happening out there, that is just not relevant when you take your energy back to you and operate from here only, and not worry so much about the external stuff that is out of your control.
Right.
So we were talking the other day with FCB and about the collective consciousness, and everyone's like, why is the show taking so long? Well, we're waiting for the collective consciousness to pull their energy back to themselves and stand up and say, I'm a sovereign being. That's really part of this push and pull of what's going on. And so the more you work on you, the more you radiate that positive energy, the more you affect the others around you, the sooner we're all going to get to peace on earth, so to speak. Right?
Yeah.
And
I
see it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I like
it-
that. It doesn't matter, like, the dimensions. I mean, there's 12,
Yeah.
like you said. Who knows? But are there 12 in this realm? Does it matter? What matters is our existence right now. Our journey right now, like you said.
Yeah.
And we think and we can imagine the 5D and what that'll be like, or ascension. And I have different thoughts on that, but does it matter? No, because we get to experience it, right? We get
Right.
to experience it.
Yeah.
We're experiencing it. And when we become, like, reconciled with our past to be able to live in this now, that is a great releasing. It is sovereignty, I think, because you get to make your
Oh,
choice of everything. And and then we realize too that a lot of the emotions have been controlled. Like, we have control. We have a choice on our emotions at times. Like, should I get mad about that? We actually say it. Should I be mad about this? Nah, don't do it. Just get over it. So we have a choice with what we want to feel. I think that for me, if I react on something right away, it's probably bad. If I go, okay, I gotta, and I get in there and I say my 2 cents worth, I regret my 2 cents worth that I said a few days later. So for me, I like to go back and kind of digest, is this emotion real? Is it something that I can transmute, and what do I want to do with it? Do I want to release it? Do I want to let it go, or do I want to act upon it? And then I don't make such bad explosions within the lives around me with whatever I'm processing.
Yeah. So what you nailed it right there. It's, am I willing to put my energy, and am I being reactive, or am I coming across positive? And there's so many times where I'm like, oh, it's not even worthy of my energy. Right. And so when you get to that place, it's so much easier to operate because, oh, they're angry about something that's going on for them. But, oh, what is me being triggered by that? What do I need to look at within me? Why am I being triggered? So that I could figure out what I need to do for me, not for anybody else.
No.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
there's a whole new language of energy that happens that, not only are you becoming the observer, you're also becoming, you're the one now controlling a lot more versus being reactive to everything. Right. We've all talked about that triangle of the victim, the perpetrator, and the rescuer.
Mhm.
And so getting out of that triangle is like, no, I'm not going into that triangle, which is often when we're triggered, it's going to be one of those things, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do that, or at least redefine your corners. I'm just saying.
That's right.
Right.
I'm just going to the middle, to the void, right?
So
So,
you
and
could say
because
soul,
we're
mind,
tuning
and body.
forks, right? We're like tuning forks. So if I start to resonate at a certain, if something is triggering me, it would trigger someone else, right? They might start tuning into that trigger. So if I can transmute it or process it or release it, deal with
Yeah.
it, then
Yeah. Absolutely.
how I respond will affect, and that tuning fork, not just one person, affects another person, affects another. So that's how our collective works, right? So it really does
Yeah.
matter how we work with everything we're going through, because that's the collective. I think the collective has always been there. We've always been experiencing it. Like today, someone told me, we were talking about the quantum, and this person said, well, 80% of language is body language, or it's silent. And I thought, that's so interesting. So we use our intuition so much more, like, then we really do realize, like, we come into a room, we can feel the people, we know what I better not say that, or I could say this and this would trigger. We know it already. We know the
Yeah.
responses we can get out of people, or the words we say could inflame someone. So we have choices too on how we want to have our symphony sung. Do we want some hard rock where we're headbanging each other and everybody's aggressive and or do we want to have a concert symphony where we're just harmonizing and you hear that, the violins playing and the clarinets and there's that drum and it's all in one
Yeah.
accord. So yeah, sorry. Off on my spin.
Yeah. No, all good. Good. I just want to make sure I answered this. So I pulled it up on the screen. So Penny Lane says, that's why I was confused today. Collective consciousness relates to ascension. Collective consciousness relates to our reality as well. And so it's almost like a reflection point, and same with our own consciousness. But when you get the whole collective operating in a specific way, there's a lot more energy to it. Yeah.
Yeah, what you speak of is like we've always said this whole time. This has always been a battle for your attention, which means it's for your mind. The way to get your attention was through your mind. Okay. So when we talk about the collective, if you look at the world as the way it became, it's because our attention was taken and our focus was put where our attention was, driven to. But as we go within and we begin to take our attention and put it within back where it belongs, okay, then what happens is what we mean by the consciousness collection of the collective is that when we have enough human souls and in the people here having a focus of that peace, joy, bliss, those states of being, knowing that they must be it in order to experience it, then what we're doing is we're taking a focus off of what is outside of us, because that it just was what it was. We give it back and put it back within us. That's why I always say we're here to give you back to you. That's the purpose and reason why you have to give you back to you. Okay, because you gave yourself away due to where you was putting your focus, due to the attention that was being drawn from you to the tactics that were presented, so to speak. So that's the reason why we always, when we talk about the collective consciousness, we're not talking about as much as the ascension as it is taking and giving back to you who you are, so that way you may expand in your ascension of understanding the difference of the levels and the realms and the dimensions and all that, so much more that exists other than just that. So that's what we speak of when we're talking about ascension in or anything like that. It These are just words, people.
Yeah,
They're the vocabulary to be able to follow with, so to speak.
absolutely. So, but personal state of consciousness is inner and does not affect us. That's not true. So consider it all together. As much as you are
Mhm.
one cell in a large body, we're all connected. That's the consciousness collective. And then the more you work on your individual body, mind, and spirit, the more you will get your own ascension or expansion. Melzie, you want to add to that?
Yeah, there's a lot there with ascension um and our inner conscious. Like you said, they're connected, right? So your inner consciousness affects the the consciousness of the collective. So when where there's multiple things that are happening, it's not just that we are ascending with the things that we're learning. We're physically in our carbon body changing through plasma and becoming more crystalline. So it's a process that we're going through, and we're becoming, like, we're realizing it, right? We're in that realization phase. But some of us have physical things that we're feeling through that, like we get dizzy, or we get these ringing in our ears, or we get fatigued, or we have different effects that are um, manifestations of this transformation. And so it's
Absolutely.
not just one thing, it's a whole bunch. But the way it was explained to me, I have a friend that I talk about, that had a brain aneurysm, and when she came back, she said that she saw what was to transpire, and she called it the 100th Monkey Effect 432 World Tour. So she had planned to go out to all the ley lines and to do light work there, and also to have, like, sound and healing frequency on the ley lines. And she said that when humanity got to a certain level, it would be like the 100th Monkey Effect, that it would just be like boom. So I think that there's multiple things that are happening. The Kali Yuga of the transformation, that we have that secular transformation, that cycle that we're on of 26,000 years. And we're having some type of a plasmic uh, discharge, or plasmic outbursts that are coming our way, and that are going through all of our cells, affecting us cellularly. So that's happening along with the awakening that we're experiencing, with the things we're learning, the things that we're becoming aware to, right? Like through this collectively, we're learning together. And when we put those heart field together, like we are right now,
Yeah.
that's like, that's the solar flash event, I think. We'll come to a certain point, it'll be like boom, boom.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I fully agree. Like, even in this chat room, I can feel the energy in here. I can feel the positivity, right? I can feel the, like almost So we want to teach you how you can have inner peace all the time so that you're not having to look outside of yourself for anything. You can do the chimes meditation, or you can go to a singing bowl sound bath and or listen to frequencies, or go listen out in nature, or go walk barefoot. You've got so many tools that don't cost anything, that they're free, that you can utilize. That's our wish for you, is for you all to realize that you have all the power within you. You just need to acknowledge that you are worth it and you are worthy.
You're enough.
Yeah, you're enough as you are right now, no matter where you're at. Yeah, and it's beautiful. Yeah. Any last words of wisdom? We got our challenge of water, and we got our
Yeah.
challenge to do some more dosing. And Bob says he's going to dose his next partner, which I thought was quite cute. Oh, but then she can dose me too. You see everyone walking around with rods. Rod speed dating. It's a thing.
Rod speed dating.
You could do that online, you know.
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's that came up with that. I just played it out a little further. Yeah. Yeah. And then we're talking about the fuck it bucket. Yeah, anything that doesn't resonate, you've got that fuck it bucket to throw it into. Just toss it. Toss it. So Melzie,
You know, and yeah, just the fuck it bucket too. Like, don't be feeling bad about the fuck it bucket. You know, I fucked up this time. Because you're learning. It's all an experience, and thank you for the lessons that I've learned in that fuck it bucket. You know, it really is a good bucket too.
You wouldn't be learning such good lessons. That's right.
No, you wouldn't.
He's calling it rods of Tinder. There's an app for that.
All right. You guys, thank you so much. Thank you, ladies.
Yeah, blessings to you, Melzie. We love you guys. Thank you for all the laughs tonight. That was so good.
Yeah.
Until we see you next.
Yes,
Bye.
until we see you again.